Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment. All right, Frid. Episode 44. Man, oh man, did we have a big blog post, but boy, does it require some good old-fashioned Festivus. Let's jump straight in. We have not had a good Festivus, at least an outright Festivus, in quite some time.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
First on the list has got to be Cull, Obsidian, and Minerva. We knew something fishy was going to happen with Cull Obsidian. We thought he'd get the Colossus treatment. We thought he would be unfarmable forever. And only after the meta passed him by would they make him farmable. And they decided to give him the premium orb treatment and the big middle finger to the player base. This one was shocking to me. Absolutely shocking to me, Fred. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even see the news, right? So what I sent, I went through the stores, right? And Minerva was in the war store. I was like, what the heck? And so I posted it, and then I went back. And let's see, did they say something? And that's when I find out what they did, and I was like, oh crap. So that whole thing about the campaign, very late, or with Graviton being a placeholder or whatever. Nope. It's the creative's favorite method. The yo-yo method.
Unfarmable myth of 2% that never shows up. Wow. So this one to me, I was just utterly shocked. So this the good news though for us that have invested heavily in the Black Order. This to me confirms that there is no counter coming for the Black Order for the time being. This war skill, military, whatever team is definitely not going to be a counter. Yep. I don't see this X-Men team one even coming around anytime soon. It'll be late January, probably even, I think, end of February before we see Jubilee. So to me, this means we're going to be fighting Black Order on Black Order. We're going to have more Black Order on Black Order crime going on for quite some time. Yeah,
so that means maybe the X Factor is where they're going with this, possibly. But think about now how hard this is for a new.
It's impossible.
Get the Black Order. You can't.
You can't.
Basically.
There are no team without Cull Obsidian. I mean, there's a good team, but there is no full team. You cannot do the things that you can do without Cull Obsidian. It's impossible.
Right. So you've got Ebony Maw. Is he the double legendary? Let me see. Yes. Right?
Yes. Black Bolt to get him.
Right. So this whole thing is basically, like you said, this is the signal that says this is the team, and it's going to be the team for a while. So we're going to make it as hard as possible for everybody to get it. But I guess, it's one of those things that once you do, it's got to be like, wow, now I get to do the stuff, for newer players. But this is not farmability. So you got basically, what is it now? Like almost 2 characters.
Two required characters for massive parts of the game, in my opinion. So, yeah. So that one was utterly shocking. So we kind of jumped in. Cull Obsidian has been moved into the premium orb. Minerva has been moved out and placed in the war store. And to make matters worse, did they take out Graviton because he's a farmable note? Nope. Have they taken out Nobu, Shield Operative, Hydra Sniper, Merc Sniper, Ravager, Bruiser? No. Have they given us another slot so that we could actually see Minerva, so you can see X23, so you can see Sif, whatever that character you really need is? There's about 5 of them out there.
Nope.
No, they didn't do that either. No.
They
wow.
watered down the whole thing by leaving that junk and then adding more to it.
Yeah.
stuff that you can get from nodes or that doesn't make sense, like Ravager Bruiser. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay,
this is this usual, let's make the store really frustrating. And of course, I don't know if you noticed, there was a Cull Obsidian offer. There is a yo-yo offer out there. So, to you, Scopely, hell no, I'm not buying that. Hell no.
Well, good news for me, at least, is that I am almost done with X23, and then Minerva would be something that I need a little bit more, and then I'll be done with her finally.
Yep.
And for newer players, although I mean she's kind of old news now after this long, but she's still great, so a good place to get her. I think she's 45 unlocked, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Anyway, enough of that. If the War Store continues to be the premier store where they make it all difficult, hopefully one day we'll get this addressed. Second row, Scopely, please. All right, so part of the blog post was finally confirmation that Emma Frost will indeed run a third time. Woo!
So she must be coming back next week, right?
And they normally tell us the week before, but no, she's coming in January, whatever that means. We don't know when, but early January. So hold your gold for a little bit more.
Well, we predicted this, right? We said they did this usual game with Symbiote Spider-Man, made it an exponentially long gap of time, and they're going to use the holidays as an excuse. Again, I mean, this is double middle finger to the player base. We're up to 2 already, if anybody's keeping count.
Yes. Okay, so the other thing that there's been a lot of anticipation around, or rumors, is that there's going to be an orb opening event, like there has been, I think, for the last couple of years. And no news about that either. So at this point, I'm assuming this is not happening. And I'm just going to open the orbs as I need them for seed theory or whatever other purposes. What do you think of this, Creative?
Well, I would just say as a general statement, I don't like the orb opening events. It encourages hoarding. I personally just have not been opening things because I didn't need anything. I don't really hoard to hoard. I just don't need anything in the orange raid orb. I have no need for anything there. I don't need anything in the blue raid orb. Mm-hmm. So I personally don't like those events, so I'm not upset about this. And guess what? I'm going to have my own little orbgasm in a few days here. So, because I've got way too many orbs and too many teams that need to be leveled. So I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah, I don't have as many as you. I've been kind of ignoring this somewhat and opening stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. And then the blog post continued. And we have not only one event, but we're going to have 2 events over the holidays. So there's the what is it, Mayhem event or whatever we're calling, Mojo's Mayhem, the ratings kind of thing that'll be coming. They gave us a tease of the rewards that you can see 1/3 of the criteria, but we're also going to get a Red Guardian event, and yet again we're going to get another overly complicated event that there'll be 3 types of things: Blitz and Arena. What else was it? Raids and something else, and then you open an orb and you finally get something. So it's just the 3 types of different milestones. I don't understand why they need to make this so complicated, and we're expecting them to do the same thing that they did for any of them, which is make it impossible to get more than 4 yellow stars. So
right.
And they keep talking about when you sim blitz, you're going to get less points. So I'm assuming you just get less, you earn less points towards a milestone. And for those of you that didn't notice, Scopely snuck this in already into the World Warrior. So instead of getting 10 points for a blitz win, when you sim, you get 9. At the end of the day, we don't care. We get World Warrior 2+ days in advance. But we just want to make sure it's 1 point difference instead of, something dramatic.
Or, God forbid, something about the shards that drop,
Oh, God. If they do anything like that, that's oh, boy. Yeah, no, I think it's just they're going to be, you earn a little bit less towards whatever the Blitz milestone is.
Yeah, but the thing is, then, this tells me that this Red Guardian may be the real deal, because when they put, like, Anti-Venom and those characters that they put behind this.
True.
So you can't get past 4.5 if you do everything, which is a ton of work. Okay, I don't want to. I want to spend any money on this guy. So,
No, I mean, I heard he's gonna have a taunt like Drax first thing, but he is slow as molasses. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just can't get excited about him. I just keep picturing the movie and him coming out in the cartoon. He's like, "How do I look?" And they say he's fat. I'm just not the cartoon, the movie trailer. Sorry. So anyway, yeah.
Well,
So
he was in this Shatterstar event. If you want to clone him and see what he can do, with a Sinister. But anyway.
yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah.
What else? What else? The hits just keep on coming. So the other was for the Greek raids. We now have the difficulty selector. However, the rewards at higher difficulty tiers for 60 and above really aren't that good. So what you should be doing is find whatever level that you can comfortably and easily get 100%. So I don't know if everybody's done these yet. Difficulty 1 wasn't that big a deal. Difficulty 2 certainly got quite a bit harder. Difficulty 3 is worse than U7. I mean, I don't understand how they think this is balanced and whatever, but the rewards at 60% across these different levels do not give you the premium things that you want. So find whatever layer you can do at 100%. Stick to that. Plus, we all have too many things to do in the game anyway. You can definitely not auto Greek raids on these higher levels. Fred, anything I may miss there?
Yeah, no, what I heard is that Pants of Hulk, like top of the line, was not able to do the difficulty 3. So think about that. And the other thing is the one-time rewards. Now, those are nice. We got to say that. So when you do 100% the first time, you get some T4 materials and some gold orbs and stuff like that. But what we're talking about is the recurring, what you get for completing this. It doesn't really help you and compensate for how much effort this takes.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think we can make 2. I don't know if it'll be a daily, but we'll do it to get the rewards and maybe then go back to 1. We'll see. We'll see what we do.
I think we can get 2, but we'll see. But at the end of the day, if you look at the bonus increase to the opponents, when you go from 2 to 3,
yeah,
it like doubles.
Is that like 300? It's some crazy.
It's ridiculous. You go from like 150 to 350. I mean, it's just poor, lazy game design. Anyway, Fred, why don't you keep us going here?
Yep. Okay, so your favorite game mode. If you thought you were done with it,
Raids?
because of the sim button, get ready to do some blitzing because for the next there's 2 character releases coming out. That is Longshot and Yelena, which is part of the skill team that goes with Red Guardian. But then when Yelena is going on, you also have, and this is good, a Call Obsidian Blitz and an Ironheart Blitz. So what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blitzes. And guess what? The one for Longshot is starting on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, so that you can enjoy time with your family by blitz simming through Christmas.
I think my win rate might be going down in the crapper during those days. My drinking levels. Yeah, that's totally not going to happen. I'm not going to get any points Christmas Eve. I'm not going to get any points New Year's Eve. I mean, this is just utterly ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So yeah, they're gonna take off Scopely. They're not gonna have another blog until January 15th, but they left us blitzing the whole time basically to get these characters. Okay, and then finally, no comment on the astonishing X-Men, talking about Iceman and Kitty Pryde, as well as the mysterious method for the legendary Jubilee. We don't know what is the unlock yet. So take your bets. What do you think? It's either astonishing or
Pimtech.
Pim. Can't be X Factor unless they pull a trick out of the hat. But
yeah, this again where they announce the character without the requirements. We do all the events for the characters, so you have to buy. This is, boy, I mean, I think we're up to 3 middle fingers, maybe 4, maybe. I don't know. I'm losing track here.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I spent a bunch of cores getting Pimp to 5. I didn't buy any offers, but I did spend cores, so I'm very low for my liking, and we don't know if it's going to be worth it. So we're still in suspense, and we won't know for another month, at least.
Wow.
It's rough.
Yeah, so I definitely remember being a lot more excited about the holidays last year with the snow globe orb and events. I don't feel festive. I don't feel joyous for these things. I feel stressed that I have all this blitzing to do. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, the sim is quicker, but you still have to, for these events, you would have to do it on the 2 hours, to get the score. So
I feel like we're doing almost the same amount of work because we're basically getting the 8 cycles, whereas before we're getting maybe 6, 7 at best.
I don't know.
Anyway, so to the player base, feel free to stop by Discord. Tell us if you are in fact excited about this holiday news. Otherwise, feel free to jump on the Festivus train. All aboard!
What a way to kick off the holiday season.
I tell you.
Okay, well, now we're going to switch gears. And there were a couple of news that are not in the Festivus category that I do want to cover.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
And the first one is that we got the legendary cadence for the 2 events that I suppose are going to happen over the next 4 weeks. And that is Shuri is returning. So get your Spider-Verse ready if you haven't gotten her to 7. She is a tremendous character for raids, got a lot of utility for the defense up in certain nodes. You need that, for the whole team. So she provides it. And, that's essentially it. Then Mr. Dr. Octopus is returning. So Creative, are you ready for him?
I am officially ready to unlock him at 6 yellow stars.
Ooh. You have any reds on him?
Oh, yeah, the same 5 as you.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Well, I am 29 X23 shards away from a 7 unlock. So
yeah, you got 2 weeks. That's easy enough.
Yeah, except now with Minerva.
Might have to run those numbers a little bit more.
Well, she's also in the snow globe, but everything I've opened has not given me beast. So, okay. And the other piece of news related to this here is that the next character coming to the arena, we were talking about this, it's been a while, is Swarm. So speaking of Dr. Octopus, if you don't have Swarm, then you can get him from arena. Who does that mean? That Electra's not yet anywhere, right?
Correct.
Okay. Who else is out there? That Beast? We don't have Beast.
Oh man, it's a laundry list. Here I can go to the thing.
Sorry, I'm just springing this up on the fly because I thought about it. Like, what's left? We got Taskmaster, we got Red Skull.
So there's Cole, who's in an orb, but it's not farmable. Beast, Zemo, Electro, and then both the symbiotes, the newer ones, Scream, Anti-Venom, the unforgotten or forgotten player of She-Hulk, and then, of course, the Pemtech team.
Oh, I bet you She-Hulk may go to the
Blitz.
Yep. Yeah, like the regular Blitz, not the shenanigans with Domino. Okay, well, that's the news. And I did have another item. We haven't talked about conspiracies in a while. Okay, so my conspiracy of the week happened to me today. Because I love Arena, and there's a great method to get number 1, which requires you to time the end of the match to the second when the cutoff is, so that you can ensure that you lock in your spot or you slingshot to the top somehow. And I was I did the timing. I had 5 minutes. So I had the Call Obsidian nearly dead, and there were like, I'd say 3 minutes left, right, to go.
Sure.
So I put the phone down, and I was lifting weights, by the way. That's what I was doing. So I was doing my set, and then the phone went to sleep. And then when I got back, I got to the defeat screen, and it hadn't been but like a minute. So I got a loss out of that without the timer ever going off.
Yeah. So this is exactly what I raised the other week. I was saying that I'm seeing a lot of bad times in the game. And so what I'd mentioned was two things.
That's what it was. Okay.
And this is exactly what it was. Because this happens to me because I've mentioned it in the past. Arena is always at the worst time. I either get dirty looks at the dinner table, or I'm having to pick a kid up, or whatever it is. It's never a good time. And so this exact same thing happens to me. I set a timer. And so typically it's around 8 minutes left. You set it for 8 minutes. You sync your phone timer. You sync it to the arena. But what I was saying was two things. One is if you go into the arena screen, it shows the timer. You go somewhere else, you come back to it, the timer stops. And it doesn't actually keep going. So you have to go into the main game screen and then come back to the arena screen, or go to the fight selection and then come back. And then and only then does it refresh correctly. So that timer is bugged if you go outside of the game and come back. So that's number one. And even in the scenario that I did it, I ensured that time was correct. I go set my timer, I go back to the screen, I refresh it appropriately, and I compare the two. And then I go into the fight. You basically win the fight, and the phone goes to sleep because, again, I'm doing other things. Mm-hmm. And I keep checking the timer on my phone. You just tap, the phone. You can see the timer. Mm-hmm. I go back in, and the timer is still running, but Arena is somehow finished.
Yes.
So that is definitely what I was talking about the other day. There's multiple bugs in and around their timer. So I'm sorry that you've seen it then. So now I have to literally keep hitting the screen so it doesn't time out.
Exactly. So maybe we got to add another step that you, the phone, give it 15 minutes to lock the screen so that it stays on, for that time. It's just, what is this? I don't understand. I hadn't seen it because I've been at my desk a lot, so I'm doing it on the PC, and it doesn't go to sleep. But this time I was out a little earlier, and that's what happened to me. So.
Oh, here's some other Festivus for you. I could tell someone was playing on BlueStacks or Mimu on a PvP match, because the game went the 150 seconds. If someone is on their phone, the game it'll time out, and then the auto kicks in or whatever. Literally, I had to sit there for 150 seconds, and then I had to sit there for 15 seconds. Oh my god! So I am definitely noticing that there's definitely benefits to BlueStacks and Mimo and those, but when you play PvP, it really screws over your opponent.
Okay. And if you're not hitting auto, I have my, map queue to do the auto. Anyway, okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on this and see if I can confirm. I'll see if I have an opportunity to test it again. Because I lost my rank 1. I ended up rank 4 because of this silly thing. That's 150 cores or something because of that. Anyway, fine. They need to do something about that whole process. With that, we will run the numbers. So, considering that Blitz Sim is with us, I wanted to do a few calculations around Blitz. And the other thing I've noticed is, that offer for 175 cores that gives you
campaign
energy and Blitz charges that allow you to go above the 500. Mm-hmm. It looks like I don't know if it's for the holiday, what it is, but it seems semi-permanent. It hasn't gone away. And this is not something that was there before. So I keep seeing it. So I decided to remember our maximum energy usage, of 5, 5, 4, 5, the teams. So that means you're You start the blitz cycle with 500 charges, and then you run 5 teams using the 25 spend, and then you do that for the next few days. Again, this is if you're in the US. Let's keep that in mind. You use all the energy and you maximize the best teams split across the 4 days. And we have an infographic for this if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. So I adjusted it for if you were to buy these offers as the blitz is running. And instead of 5545, it's 7767. So you get to run a couple of more teams a day for buying these offers. And then if you have stockpiled anything on top of the 500, then you can do even more. But I did want to update that to just let you know that means an extra 8 teams that you're running through.
And your top teams at that, yeah.
Right. So it would be, it adds up.
At least time. $70K for us, yeah. Right. Per team. So
per team. Right, because by then you're getting to somewhat your mid-tier, right? The 6th and 7th team is not going to be
true
my 560 Black Order, but it may be my 350 Inhumans or something like that. So anyway, the infographic is in the channel, so you can kind of look at it and study it, but I did want to touch on that real quick just because I was curious. The other thing is I also created okay, so if we're doing auto, can we fit in these 8 cycles, every 2 hours? So I created a couple of schedules. One is what I typically do, and then Creative, you created yours and posted it. I think the difference is that you start a little earlier in the day at 6 a.m. I had mine starting at 7 a.m. But yeah, I will show you. For me, I can do 3, and then I go later to like 11 p.m. where you end a little earlier. So right. We got a couple of examples on how we spread this out. Essentially, you're doing your 2 or 3 cycles on Thursday, the day when it releases. And then you're doing 8 kind of for the rest of it. And then finally 6 on Sunday because you'll run out of time, right, at 7 when the red and blue orb blitz starts. But that gives you the 24 total blitz over the 3 day. It's 4 days, but 3 24-hour cycles. And so if it's a little confusing, take a look again at the infographic. I think it's going to help you explain. But if you look at it,
yeah, so ultimately we're hitting the 8 cycles, whether you do 3, after the, at the start of the event, and then 5 the next day, or, 2 and then 6. But we're basically hitting the 8 every time.
Yeah, and, you have there's like one extra, if you're looking at a day from like 9 to 11 p.m., you can technically do 9, but we leave a gap of, letting you skip one, so to speak. And I think you kind of spread out the morning into 3 instead of you could do a little bit more. So anyway, take a look at that, and but that's how you could do your 24 so that you get all that in. And then finally, the other reason I wanted to do this is I was trying to figure out, is there a theoretical maximum score, right? Because now we know the most you can do is these 24, plus if you buy these offers, right? Or use cores. But let's pretend you're completely free to play, you don't have cores, so 24 plus the normal stuff that you do, and our methods of with the charges that you have. What's kind of the max score that you could obtain for a blitz? Now, obviously, there's a lot of variables that we have to play with, right? You got what's your collection power, what's your team, how many teams you run through, what does the bottom of your roster look like. But anyway, I try to simplify for me, and considering I'm more of an endgame player, and I have a very wide roster. So I'm running 27 teams through this, right? That means all the way down to hand. Now they lose most of the time, but they're in, they're in there. And so that means I'm getting about a 90% win rate. So in between, I'll lose at 8.3, go down, then ramp up again, things like that. And I want to give a shout out to Zara Tools again with the Groot. This helped me also kind of confirm, because they have a formula in their Blitz tab that tells you, based on your collection power and teams that you're using, what's the score that you should expect. And it's pretty close to what I'm seeing in actuality. But the bottom line of all of this is, if you have a similar roster and you're running this much through, you can expect about 4.75, so 4.75 times your collection power to be your total Blitz score. And that is if you do everything perfectly, right? What I'm describing. You didn't miss a cycle, you did all the charges, you ran all your teams, and you won 90% of the time. So for me, with my collection power, that was about 42 million, doing everything right. And I saw that I think the top 100 were higher than that. So I literally have no
chance now. Yep.
No possibility to get there if the people above me have a bigger collection power and are doing the same thing.
I do think, though, you and I can already tell we're a little tired of Blitz, much less having to do these 10,000 blitzes coming into the new year. I do think the euphoria will wear off. Certainly people are going to go nuts for Cole and all that, but I do think it'll calm down. It's still a lot of work, and we're going to have the same thing happen within 2 or 3 blitzes. People are just going to get tired, and they're not going to do the same amount of stuff. So it's not going to be as crazy, but it's clear that the top 100 is capped. You have to have your 13 million collection power and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, if I don't know what they do about that, or then create some kind of leagues that are based on
we should never
TCP range, like competing against guys like the guy with the million TCP that's been playing for 120 days, playing against these Panzer Hulk people. You know?
I mean, just think about it. So your start of the game 85 days ago, you're gonna have a great shot at getting a really high long star. Whereas someone that's been playing for 95 days is going to have 0 shot of getting AL. I mean, it makes no sense that there's just 2 levels. No sense.
Right. They need to.
Absolutely. This clearly shows that there needs to be tiers. It needs to be based on collection power. This is just insanity that they don't
That is
have
one
this.
big bucket for everybody. Yeah. So then now these people keep increasing their collection power because they're paying probably anyway, and it just continues the pattern.
This just screws over every early and mid game player hard.
Yep. So anyway, take a look at, and I may post some of these results. I'm gonna tidy up I've been doing some collection of data, and I'll. But the Zara Tools was really good. It does have a section where you can fill it out and give you an idea of what your score is going to be. So good job there. It helped me kind of finish my experiment. But I will get to prove it all the way if I am perfect for long shot starting on Christmas Eve. Yay.
Christmas Day. We're not playing. Anyway, so I did want to mention to you, I mentioned to you this the other day, and I want to kind of throw it out to our listeners. There is dramatic variability in the amount of points that you will be offered per Blitz win, particularly at the higher end of your roster. And so what I talked to you about was Black Order, because we both have high Black Order. I will get, and I start not the first cycle, but thereafter I start with Black Order and I work my way down. I will get offered 79,000, 80,000, 82,000. I know, though, I can get 89,000 out of that team. And so I would say, as a recommendation to know what the point level should be across your tiers, you probably only have 5 or so tiers within your roster of teams. But I know that Black Order and then the next team for me is Symbiotes. I know what those teams can get. And most times when I first go to them, I'm not getting anywhere near that max points. I get 82,000 instead of 89. So what I'll do is I'll go fight another team and then go back. So I would tell people, know what your max points are, particularly for those sure to auto win teams. And if you're not seeing it, just go down and come right back to them. Normally, when you come back, you'll be offered that higher points. And that's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 points per win. You do that over the course of 24 cycles. That adds up. And those little differences are going to, that and your win rate are really what's going to be setting people apart.
Yep. No, that's a great tip there, because every little bit will help. But then again, it adds to the cycling through.
Oh, yeah. It's so much work. So much work.
And that's another thing. I think the way I have it is very inefficient. I need to group it by tiers so that it's easier, or maybe mix in the in-between tanking team. Anyway, that's another episode.
I've been thinking about just like setting up the save teams completely to do that. But we'll talk about that later.
That's right. We'll tease it, but we'll see what works and then compare. All right, and then as we've been talking, the Shatterstar event started tonight. So again, let me run through this real quick. They did not change any other rules as it has been for the probably past 4 or 5 events. So he's got a 14% chance to drop on the orb. Same. There are some nice characters in there, though. It's one of the better orbs we've seen. So I recommend you spend some cores, and we'll get into that. So let's go. If you want to unlock him, and that's all you want, then you can just complete either medium or hard and using your free energy, and that's enough to unlock. I think he's a 2-star unlock. So that's it.
Oh, wow.
If you want a 3 yellow star Shatterstar, if you are a mid-game player, you need to complete all the medium difficulty nodes and do 1 energy refresh per day. What we mean by this is the ones that you buy for 50 cores and give you a refresh of energy. And if you're a late game player and you can do the hard nodes, then you can do the hard nodes and use your free energy. You don't even need to refresh, and you would get enough for a 3 yellow star Shatterstar. Now here's where it gets interesting. If you want a 4 yellow star character and you're a late game player, then you need to do 1 extra refresh per day. And if you want to get a 5, like Creative and I were working on Scream and Stature, you need to do 7 energy refreshes per day, which through the life of the event will cost you 8,000 cores. So Creative, I know you're probably still salty on Scream. What do you think of all this for Shatterstar?
I mean, so I talked last week that I looked over their kits. I was pretty excited about their kits. I just am wondering about, is there a rest of the team? Are they going to be orphans? So that was the only thing that was really holding me back. And then, as soon as we did that, there was a plethora of content creator videos coming out. The most interesting one was using Fury, Shield Operative, and Shield Assault. And so for those that don't know that team terribly well, Fury gives speed up, and then Assault with the T4, I think, and the passive gives more crit, along with Shield Operative doing the same thing, I think giving focus so that you can land the crits. And so what was happening is the Shield members were ensuring that crits would happen, and that then kicks off a ton of passive things for this team. The 2 guys, really, it's not even a team. The 2 guys, they get tons of speed. They do their own crits, and it would just blow things away. So I was pretty excited about the team before all that craziness. Again, I should keep saying team. These 2 guys, 2 freaking guys. So I don't think I'm going to do the 7 energy refreshes because I'm still I forget where I am, 4,000, 6,000 cores, somewhere in there. I'm not that high, but just it's going into the holidays. Things are going to get kind of crazy for me family-wise, and I just can't keep up with it. So I will not do that. But he looks like the better character of the 2 in terms of just crazy damage. So certainly you need the red stars, you need the yellow stars.
Yep, and did you run through the event? Did you have any trouble? What was the difficulty on it?
No, I mean, the characters you could use were pretty OP characters.
Yes.
So, no, I did read the storyline. It was kind of funny. They threw in um, Deadpool, and he wanted to get on the TV show, the Merc Mayhem or the Mojo show. That was kind of funny. And then the two guys are kind of interesting, Shatterstar and Longshot. They like the limelight, even though they're fighting for their lives and all that. I mean, it was fine. It was better than the other ones, some of the other ones, but no issues whatsoever. I did find the last note kind of funny. Somehow Sinisters have more speed than your team of Thanos and Emma or whoever it was. And they copy your entire team. So that was kind of odd. I mean, it still didn't make it hard for me. But kudos to at least something different.
Yep. So anyways, for me, I have just sort of taken the approach that I'm always going to do the refreshes on these as long as I can get good ranks in arena, and I'll keep an eye on my core inventory and see if it goes low, but I plan on going for 5 with him as well.
Okay.
So, all right, Creative, I think we can close out the show with a brief gearing and leveling. I know we reversed the order, but we had to get the
had to get that Festivus out.
Yes.
Had to get it out. Yeah, I mean, for me, nothing terribly exciting. I've been incredibly lazy as it comes to ISO 8, so I finally started going to all the teams that I use first, and then going through and upgrading some of the levels on teams. With the Cull Obsidian news, with the lack of a counter, I'm going to go against our initial advice, and I will probably take the entire Black Order team to ISO 8 level 5, which is kind of crazy, but I'm just going to do it because, again, no counter in sight. But slowly but surely, doing all the ISO 8 stuff. I've never opened any of the orbs, so I've got 300 plus of those, so I'm just going to go nuts, open those orbs. And then Pimtech has been disappointing, as expected, I would say. Whenever you have game-specific tags, you don't get to use those in Blitz, therefore you're not going to be as good in Blitz. I'm not all the way where I need to be yet, but they're definitely going to be an X-Force type team in Blitz. They're going to have a very high cap in terms of well above parking lot, well above, no T4s. You're going to have to do probably 4 T4s for that team to be consistent and viable. They certainly win at 8.3. I can get them to consistently win with the right matchup, but to be where they need to be, you're going to have to invest pretty heavily to get them up there. I'm going to do it for the sake of science because I'm practically there already. And then I'll take that pony out in war and see what they can do. But definitely not as expected or not performing as I would like. So,
question on Black Order. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Now that we know this information, we should feel confident to go all the way. I had done 2 out of the 5. Obviously Thanos and Mr. Ebony Maw, because I use them in other game modes, but I think Cole will be next, followed by the pair of husband and wife. But I was going to ask you about T4s. Have you done anything else to that on them, or?
Yeah, since Cole was never going to get any higher, I went ahead and did his special that heals him faster. It's more about defense. I don't really ever use it that much when I fight, but it is used pretty early in the fights that he'll heal for even more. And then I'm likely going to do Corvus's special, the AoE. I think it's his special. No, his ult. Because that'll go turn 1. And then that's probably what I'll do. I already do the basics because I love using them and now the beta raid. But I'll probably add 1 or 2 more there just to make them look bigger. So again, I'm always fighting the battle of I'm not a whale. I'm typically lower than most. So I'm going to do a couple more T4s for the Black Order as well.
Yeah, no, that gave me ideas there. So I'm glad we had this conversation. I think I'm going to do that too. I've been stockpiling them.
I've got way too many. I just can't get characters high enough. That's my problem. It's taking. I mean, how long have I been talking about Pimtech and leveling them up? I still don't have any of them to 70 because I have to. Right. I mean, it's just this gold cap for another month is just crazy. Anyway.
Yes. Okay. Well, I will talk about what I've been able to accomplish. First, Taskmaster, 6-star already.
Wow.
I did some refreshes when the double event came through, so that's pretty nice. He didn't go up crazy, but every star helps, and I am eyeing him for a T14. That would be very painful for the defense and war.
Yeah, I think we talked about this the other day. It's just taking way too long to get these T15 mats.
I know.
And this event that's coming, the Mojo event, we're gonna get 10 for these. So I mean, we're getting 1/15 of what you need for a character. We don't even get one gear slot. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably do the alien spores on Scream. Probably gonna go ahead and get Taskmaster higher. I'm not worried about saving 25 more to get these characters to T15. It's still going to be another 3 to 4 months before it's even remotely close.
I have Scream ready to go too, and then I can more consistently use them in the raids. So
I use them every day. Never left after the event. I think they're fantastic. But anyway, we can talk about that later.
They're too slow for my taste, but yes, Scream will help. All right, so the other thing with my skills, I pulled a 6 red star for long shot out of an Elite 5. So after I saw all those videos, I was gonna hold these for. I was more into the
X-Men.
Military team.
Oh.
No, not the X-Men. I was waiting for the military team. I think, for war or whatever. But once I heard that these guys are more OP and versatile, I was like, okay, I'll just do that. So I got a 6. But Shatterstar, the guy from the event, is only 2. So that's sad. We'll see if I have to buy them the creative way, one at a time, until I get to what I want.
Way.
Okay. And then I got Ms. Marvel to tier 13.
Nice.
And then Squirrel Girl will be next on that team. I also got Miles to 11, so trying to round out the Young Avengers. Can't wait to see what their 5th member officially is going to be.
We saw some posts in Discord of someone putting them on offense and throwing in Ultron sometimes, destroying Emma teams. I thought that was pretty cool.
Ooh, well, that's cool.
I mean, it was a ridiculously big team. It was pretty impressive to see. Now, you said the other day you were really liking them, by the way.
Well, it was on PvP, your new favorite mode, because if you're trying to get like abilities out, they just last forever. So the fight is very long.
Yes.
So because they,
I didn't think about that.
You got Ms. Marvel, who's like huge, and she taunts, and then she heals, and then Squirrel Girl cleanses and heals, and it takes forever. So all these abilities are running, but they were winning a lot. I was like, all right, they're pretty good. And then last but not least, or maybe least, is that Pimtech is almost parking lot, but they're still at the bottom of my roster, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. But they're T10, and I need to get the level 60 so that I can do the, ability 6664, and I think I'm going to stop there for now with them.
I think it's probably the right call. You've got some other things that are probably a better investment. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Frid, I'm going to cut probably a little shorter than what we've been doing because I've got very little time to edit and get this out for this weekend. And I know we looked at the calendar. We'll get one last show out before the end of the year, but likely it will not be published on Saturday. We're probably looking at Monday, December 28th. And we were going to do, I think, our predictions, our Nostradamus Sees All episode. We will evaluate our predictions and maybe make some additional ones. But with that, thanks everybody for listening. As always, you can reach out to us on Discord. The Ragnarok Public Discord is listed in the show notes. You can send us an email at rngingame@gmail.com. You can do Frid's second favorite method of giving us an Apple 5-star review. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on all your favorite podcast apps. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
And we'll talk a little bit more than next week, but very soon.
All right. Bye-bye.